Hi, it's Jan, the Success Alchemist, and today's video is on the subject of manifestation. And a few days ago, I recorded a video which talked about how to set your goals from the heart rather than the head, and how that really gets you fully on in terms of commitment to achieve them, as opposed to a half-hearted attempt to achieve them. Today, I'd like to talk about how to set your intentions for manifestation. And it's an interesting approach, really, at least I think so. If you've been in the business world, you may be familiar with the acronym SMART, which stands for, in the conventional world, specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely. So it's really setting some clear criteria. Well, there are two schools of thought, really, in terms of the first letter, the specific, because there are some people that say you have to define exactly what you want to the finest detail so that the universe knows what you want. So in that context, it's like, I want a red Chevy truck, whatever the model is. I'm not that familiar with them, and it's got to be this year and so on. So that's one way of thinking in terms of specifics. And of course, the measurable is that when you know exactly what you want, you'll know when you've achieved it. And the other thing is, achievable. Well, there's a saying that I put in a blog post the other day by Richard Branson that if your goal doesn't scare you, it's not big enough. And there's also a saying, you need to make your goals big enough for God to fit in. That was a Robert Schuller quote. And, the Course in Miracles says there is no level of magnitude, I'm not sure if that's the exact word they use, in miracles, as in manifestation, because it's the same process. The only thing that limits the scale of what we achieve is our belief system. And I've talked about limiting beliefs in an earlier video as well. We have this kind of abundance thermostat that is linked to what we believe is possible for ourselves. But even in the Bible, it talks about, it's as easy to move a mountain. So it is possible, if you truly believe in the possibility, that you can create huge miracles. So achievable is kind of depends on what your belief system is as to what you set as the achievable measure. Realistic, again, is, should you be realistic? There's a lot of people that say doing a horrendous 9-to-5 slave driver corporate job or whatever is realistic, rather than actually fulfilling your purpose and doing what you truly love. So that again is questionable. Make it something that your heart is absolutely set on, no matter how big it is. But I have a different interpretation of the R, and it came to me in one of those downloads, and it interestingly links back to my days in project management. And the story I like to tell is that when you're in IT and you're a designer or a business analyst, very often you'll get users coming to you and trying to specify exactly what they want in a system. And the problem is that they actually don't know what's possible, and they either end up asking for the wrong thing, or they get far less than they could have got if they'd allowed the experts to actually work out a design that will actually give them all the functionality and possibly more than they need. And this came to me that we do this in terms of the universe or spirit. If we get too specific, I want that Chevy truck and it's got to be in red and it needs to be this year and it's got to have this horsepower, etc., then you're actually limiting what's possible for you. Whereas if you state your minimum requirements, so I need a vehicle that is capable of pulling this amount of weight. It has to have enough room in it to seat 4 people. And I'd like the color to be red, but it's not mandatory. And if you set your minimum requirements and set the intention that what you want is going to fill that or better, then it's surprising what you get. And I can tell you a story about how that happened for me when my now ex-husband and I were looking for a truck to tow a travel trailer. He'd set his heart on, I want a, it was a, oh, my mind's gone blank. Anyway, let's pretend it was a Chevy. It wasn't, but let's say it was the red Chevy, you know, has to pull 6,500 pounds in this case, blah, blah, blah. But he was set on a particular make and model. And when he went round to look at the options, he kept being pointed to a different vehicle. He kept being pointed to a Ford F-150. And we ended up buying this truck, and to his surprise, it turned out to be far, far better than the original model that he'd set his heart on. It was better for us, it was better for towing, it was better for our dogs because we could lift the seats up in the back of the cab, and instead of having a lumpy floor with recesses, it was a flat floor which perfectly fitted their dog bed. And so there it was. It was far, far better than if we had been absolutely specific. So that's a story about, you know, set your requirements rather than the final thing, whatever that might be. And then the last T is timely. And, you know, I believe very much in divine timing, but, you know, there's nothing wrong with saying I need or want or desire this to happen by such and such a time, because you might have some definite time constraints. But, you know, you then need to keep an eye on what's going on and spot the signs that it's actually on its way. So you actually keep your focus definitely on the belief that it's going to manifest. So that's it. SMART goals, the manifestation way. My definition is specific, as I've explained, in terms of requirements. Measurable, achievable, realistic without limiting what you want. Requirements is the R, and timely. So I hope that helps you, and thank you for listening. If it has, if you've enjoyed it, please like and share. And I'd love to have you subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done, because I'll be sharing lots more videos on mindset, manifestation, and methods to give you the ability to create unstoppable success. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.